Hello, I'm David. You might know me as Method from Discord or Morning Light Mountain on GitHub. Thought I'd do up a quick video on arcane-mage for the Flux ArcaneOS. This is a suite of automation tools that we can use specifically for Proxmox at the moment. If it gains some traction, we'll expand it to other mediums as well. But this allows to configure a Flux node from start to finish just using a YAML config file and merge anchors and things that you can use in YAML to make things easier. So I'm not going to go through how to actually set this all up. There's some reasonable instructions in here if people do struggle, or there's demand for how to set this up. I'll make a more in-depth video for how to do that, but this video I'm just going to quickly go through and set up a node just to show you guys how easy it is. Cool, so once it's installed, you'll get a executable that you can run that tells you what you can do. So these commands, I'm not actually sure if they work, but anyway, I'll show you how I run this. So this is a Python script that requires UV. I probably should just show you UV quickly. It is this, which is Python package manager, so it's really good, but you need that as a prerequisite to be able to install the arcane-mage. So I've already gone through and set up. I've got a couple of hypervisors in here already. Actually, I'll just go back and show you what I did. So we've got this config file that we used, which is a YAML config file. So there are examples in here. So we have a look up. So there's one that shows you how to use merge anchors. So you can have a bunch of nodes in here. This is quite a advanced sort of setup. Generally, you probably just want to use something like this. So this is all you need to set up a Flux node. So most of it's actually just the hypervisor config. And then you tell it a little bit, I want to call it Graham, Flux ID, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I've got that here now, so we're using this config file. So the node is called Biggie, so it'll change to the hypervisor. So what that does when you switch to the hypervisor, it goes out and queries the Proxmox hypervisor via API. So this has already got the hypervisor API key is in the keychain. I'm on macOS, so it's in the keychain, it's stored in there, so it's all secure. So you can see here it's gone and checked on the hypervisor and that node doesn't exist. So if we have a look here, you can see it's based on the name and there's no hypervisor called, there's no VM called Biggie. So now we're going to sync this one node. So you could have, if you wanted, you could have 8 nodes here and you can go sync all and you can set the delay between nodes. The reason why we do a delay is so that if you're auto-booting the node, you don't configure them all at once. Say, for example, if you have an over-provisioned hypervisor, and then you go and try and stream the chain off 4 Stratus nodes at the same time, that's going to use the entire, or almost the entire memory allocation for that VM, and you're probably going to crash your hypervisor. So we generally just want to do one of these at a time. So we're going to do one now, and you need to put in the console password. We don't store this in a YAML file because then you've got your console password in a YAML file, which is bad. So I will provision that. Okay, cool, and then we're away. So this goes off and does some API magic with your Proxmox server. It goes and does all secure boot keys and all that guff, and that's done. So that's the node configured. So, and you can see we're now provisioned. So if we go have a look over here, we've got Biggie, but I have it set to not auto boot this node. You can have it so that it actually will start it automatically, but I've just got it set to not. So we'll go and start that now. And that's it, that's the node done. So we'll just watch this. I will cheat a wee bit here. See, there's a countdown timer here for 20 seconds. I'm just going to hit enter. So it would automatically do this after 20 seconds, so it doesn't require any user intervention. So you can see now it's skipped all of the user input where you'd normally put in your configuration items, because it's taken them out from the YAML config file, which gets merged into the VM at build time. So if we have a look at the hardware, there's another little tiny disk that gets attached that's got the config on it that it uses. Once this is finished, okay, that's done. So this will auto reboot after, I think it's 7 seconds. Cool. And then it also skips the having to bypass the eject CD-ROM thingy. You don't have to do that. So there we go. So we haven't done anything so far, so it's all installed. And so you notice we haven't put in any secure boot keys, so that's already done as part of the install. Now once this loads, you'll notice we've gone straight past the user input stage, so it's auto installing now, so it's already got all of the config, and it will install from here right to completion and start passing benchmarks. So I'm just going to be quiet now and I will fast forward this part. Okay, so that's the download finished. So it's just going through the final startup process. So while that's happening, we'll just go and have a nudge and see if we can log in. So as part of the config file, I put the pub key in there. So let's try and see if we can get to that. There we go. Cool. And so as part of the setup, SSH is enabled and everything. So every config item that you can manually input, you can also do via the automation tools. So now we can see FluxOS is coming, Gravity is coming online. So that's all pre-configured with the TXID and identity and things. We can see we've got our API port and whatnot there. So pretty much everything's good to go here now. So the benchmark's running, everything's just about finished, and we've got our shell here. So that's the install done. So as part of the automation tools, it doesn't pop up with the Flux auto install thingy. It just goes and does it all. So if we have a look on the logs now, we can see Gravity is running, FluxD is running, and yeah, the benchmark has started. So that's the node done. So that's A to Z, everything. We didn't have to input anything once arcane-mage starts installing. It's all done. Thank you.